The Fox News poll showing that Obama's numbers have cratered, it's making the news, as it should. But what's way more interesting inside the poll is the status of the Tea Party and Hillary's prospects of being our next president. This is the voice of resistance.
Standing for truth in the four corners of America. Fighting for justice on the frontiers of the culture wars. And turning resistance into an art form. Randall Terry.
I admit to you that I am shaken. I am deeply, deeply troubled. And my goal, well, why am I shaken? Let's show. You might have heard in the news that Fox News has released a poll in the very recent past. And this poll was done over 3 days, the beginning of the month. It involved two highly respected polling firms, and they were live operators, right? This was not an automated poll. And the findings of this poll, some of the findings, are in the news right now. We are going to look at this poll in depth today, and I'll be honest with you, I'll tell you why I'm shaken. Because of what this reflects for the future. What it reflects in the poison in the body politic, the possible prognosis that we have a cancer in the body politic that may not be able to be cut out or even cured, and that will possibly end with the death knell of the republic. Now, I want to say that I believe in God, I believe in miracles, and I believe that this country could be saved. I still do believe that. But there does come a tipping point. There does come a time when you round a bend as a nation, and then the consequences of that turn are going to be played out, such as what happened with the northern 10 tribes of Israel when the Assyrians came in and swept them away, or when Judah, Jerusalem, were taken into captivity by the Babylonians and the temple was destroyed. There came a point in Israel's behavior when God said, judgment is coming. And I think it was Jeremiah. He said, if Samuel stood before me, I wouldn't listen. It wouldn't matter who prayed right now. I would not listen. So I'm hoping that that is not the case. I hope that we haven't gotten there. But folks, the findings of this poll are very troubling. And I will, let's talk about them. The big news, of course, is that Barack Hussein Obama's numbers are at an all-time low. He's at 38% job approval rating. His high was the first week of his presidency, 65%. In those glorious days when we had elected this young man, our first black president, and there was a sense of euphoria with some people. Well, he's been downhill ever since, and right now he's cratered. Most of the news is focusing on that, but there is a lot of stuff in this that we need to bear in on. Some of the specifics. On healthcare, his approval is at 36%, the economy, 36%, and foreign policy at 33%. I want to point out to you, and again, this is one of those troubling aspects, all right? I want to point out to you that constitutionally, the presidency has nothing to do with healthcare. And arguably, the president, as the chief executive, has little to do with the economy, except for perhaps whatever his foreign policy might do to impact foreign trade. But even treaties are not in the purview of the presidency. They're in the purview of Congress. So when we look at this poll, one of the backstories is that a major news source and most Americans have drunk the Kool-Aid. That we actually believe that Obama, or that any president, has a role in our health care. And that he should be creating jobs. I mean, what is he, God? What have we become as a constitutional republic What have we become as a people who watch a man swear an oath to uphold the Constitution when he is plunging and lunging forward into areas in which he has no constitutional duty or authority? Now, on the foreign policy, clearly the president has a key role there. And he's been an embarrassment. His numbers are really bad there. Only 33% believes that he has done a good job with foreign policy. I mean, when you look at his debacles with oil production and our relationship with Syria, with Iran and blinking, with Syria saying we're going to run in and then no, we're not going to do anything, with Russia, with all of his saber rattling, not even accurately assessing the situation in Crimea. When you look at what he's doing with Egypt, when you look at the fact that he's been spying on our allies with the NSA program, it's understandable why he's at 33%. So the one area where he could do the most constitutionally, he is in the tank. And the two areas where he's got little or no authority to even be there, he's still in the tank. All right, I've got to take a break. When we come back, we want to take a look at who is supporting the president. In other words, what is this block of people that still love this man? And I want to give some of you the most important prayer that you could pray right now for your own soul when we return. This is the voice of resistance.
You have two choices. I mean, you can try to raise your children by design, or you will raise them by default. There are no perfect parents. We're going to get it wrong sometimes. If we have a plan, we've got a better chance of getting it right in the long run.
There is something deep within the heart of every human being that longs for parental acceptance and approval. When does a boy become a man?
Get a group of guys around and ask them that question.
I don't think there's a certain age. Some men stay boys their whole life.
I would say, 16, 18 years old?
Wow, that's a good question.
When they get bar mitzvah.
Well, I think when he has a child. So I just became at 56, 56 years old.
Without the power of the Holy Spirit changing us and giving us power over our sin, we can't hope to be the dads that our kids need us to be.
If you voted for Barack Obama, one of the best prayers for your own soul, for your own heart and mind, maybe for your family, that you could pray would be something like this. Heavenly Father, please forgive me for putting my economic interests ahead of innocent blood. As we look at this poll, as people pontificate about CPAC, for example. CPAC just finished up in Washington, D.C., and we trotted out, the right wing trotted out all of its presidential hopefuls for 2016. Did you notice how little there was about ethics, about babies being butchered, about innocent blood, about the sacrament of marriage, the covenant of marriage ordained by God Himself being under attack? Almost nothing. In other words, they want to focus on money. It is like a poison in the body politic, in the Tea Party, in the conservative movement, in the evangelical and Catholic worlds. Because there is a priority. There are priorities. There is a hierarchy that God has ordained of right and wrong. All crimes are not equal. All sins are not equal. And if we think that we can turn our back on millions of innocent people who have been butchered on this soil, and that we can plug our ears to the sound of the cry of their blood, and that God somehow is going to bless our economy, our money, we are deceived. I tremble for my country when I remember that God is just and that His justice cannot sleep forever. The words of Thomas Jefferson. All right, let's get back to the poll. Do you think the country is better off than it was 5 years ago or not? Well, 60% said no, but amazingly, 34% of the people polled said that it was better. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, who are these people? And then I saw it. Cha-ching. It's the people who are using their food stamp debit cards inside of the marijuana store. Yes. All right, I had to get that in there. I apologize. All right, let's go to the serious. President Obama has broken 40% approval only in one area. All right, I'll save that one for last. Improving healthcare, only 36%. Stimulating the economy, 35%. Creating new jobs, 33%. America's image around the world, 33%. Running a transparent administration, 27%. In other words, this is supposed to be government of the people, by the people, for the people. But he is running a secretive, KGB-like presidency on a great number of levels. And the only place he broke 40% was in, are we safer? As he made the country safer. Spying, right? Think spying, think Big Brother. The one place where he, according to the people polled, is doing better is that he's made us safer. Forgetting, of course, the Boston bombing attack, forgetting Benghazi. And the way that he is arguing that he has made us safer is because of the NSA program, where he is now spying on all of us. I tell you this, people, if you want to be safe, there is no place like a jail cell. All right? I have been in jail many times. I spent 5 days in lockdown on a block, literally on death row in a jail in Houston, Texas. Okay? I was in my own cell, a little slit in the door, one light bulb in the room that only worked intermittently, and I was safe. Nobody could get to me. They slipped the food through the door. I had one of those obnoxious little toilets like you see here, silver toilet, silver hand place to wash. No shower, all right? No one to visit with. Had to yell through the door for somebody to hear me and talk to me. But boy, oh boy, I was safe. No chance of being mugged. No chance of being robbed. No chance of somebody hurting me. I was safe. So if you want to be super, 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 super safe, just give up your liberties. All right. When we come back, I want to take a look at two things. One is who in the world is supporting Barack Obama? And it's going to blow your mind when you see how many Tea Party people are supporting Obama and how many Tea Party people would vote for Hillary. The data in here that we're going to look at also has to do with Hillary and her possible match against Chris Christie, Jeb Bush, Ted Cruz. These numbers are going to blow your mind. And it makes me think, who is the Tea Party? Who are we? What have we become? All right, I told you early on I was shaking. I wasn't kidding. I'll be right back. This is the voice of resistance. It's just a quivering voice today. Do you want to have knowledge, wisdom, discernment? If so, you have to read good books on theology, history, books that look at the lives of great men and women. So to help you to become a more effective Christian, a better witness for truth, somebody who can engage in productive conversation that exhorts and edifies those that you speak with, we're going to do something crazy. We're offering you these 7 books for a gift of any size. You just pay for the shipping and handling, and then give whatever gift that you can, and we will send them to you. But just to make it a little bit more crazy, I will send you a second copy of my 3 books, autographed. You can give them as a gift to your pastor or to a family member and help extend truth and justice in the world. This is while supplies last. All right, the question was, do you approve or disapprove of the job that President Barack is doing? 38% approve, so I'm thinking, all right, who are these people? 41% of those who say yes have a college degree. 35% of them do not have a college degree. So you would think that somebody with a college degree would be smarter. But guess what? People without a college degree are wiser. I mean, I've rarely seen such a compelling argument against higher education. People go to these state universities and they lose their mind. They lose the ability to think properly. They lose their wisdom, okay? Knowledge is one thing, wisdom is another. And it's, you know what? It's no wonder that Barack Obama is pushing so hard for people to get a college education because of the indoctrination factor. In these state universities and so many of the big money private universities, they are run by hardcore leftists, baby killing, homosexual marriage pushing socialists with a communist bent. And they're slowly but surely indoctrinating the college students to think in a certain way. And it's working. The proof is in this. So if you're going to send your kids to a school, you darn well better figure out what the ideology of that school is. Not its reputation for its football team or for what the job placement is. What about your child's soul? What about their brain? All right, moving along. Tea Party. Oh, let's look at this. Tea Partiers, 17% approve of his job. 13% of the Tea Party thinks that he's doing great with the economy. 16% think that he's doing great with health care. 17% think that he's doing great with foreign policy. What this shows is that the Tea Party has not been successful in forming a cohesive ideology, okay? That's what it says. If I self-identify as a Tea Party person, but I think that Obama is doing a great job on health care and on the economy, then there's something wrong with the people that are training me at the Tea Party event. All right, 34% of the people polled said that the country is doing better off today than it was 5 years ago. 1 in 3 Americans says that the country is doing better. Now, again, who are these people? I want to make a joke. I have to make the joke, all right? Number one, these are people trapped in a horrifying sexual perversion who want to equate perverse sexual acts with marriage. These are illegal immigrants, citing the fact that they've come here for free stuff and they see amnesty on the horizon. And of course, Hollywood actors. They're citing the fact that they have almost unfettered access to the White House and they can talk to somebody who's pretty much on the same IQ level as them. Then you've got Syrian Americans who are so thankful that Obama is supplying light weaponry to Muslim terrorists who, of course, are promising they won't use them against Americans in the future. Then you've got Russian Americans supporting him because he's not going to deal with Crimea. The biggest block, of course, would be the welfare recipients who are saying, I'm better off than I was 5 years ago. And let's not forget the fact that the welfare recipients, there's a portion of them that are using that welfare card to go to the marijuana store and buy their weed with your tax dollars. Welfare never tasted so good. Is that peppermint? Do I smell a hint of peppermint? All right. There was one of the questions said, for you and your family, does it feel like the economy is getting better or worse? 34% said it's getting better. Now, this data that I'm about to share with you is part of why I was so rattled, all right? 49% of Americans, and if these numbers hold true, that means half of the people watching this, 49% of Americans right now are getting some type of money from the government and not doing any work in return for it. 1 in 2 Americans is getting money from the government. That's why they're saying that they're better off. They're getting more free stuff. 63% of the current government expenditures, 63% are checks being written to individuals who do not perform any service for the money they get. 2 out of every $3 is going for the welfare state. We can't keep this up. We are doomed economically. When we come back, we'll take a quick look at Hillary. She's doing well. The presidency is hers to lose. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today. If the election were held today, Hillary Clinton would trounce everybody that could come up against her. Now, on the Democratic side, she is at 73%. Biden, our vice president, is at 12%. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren at 8%. And the polling shows that the people that are backing Hillary are super duper liberal, okay? She is polling at 50% popularity right now. Next in the poll was Rand Paul at 28%, tied with Joe Biden, Marco Rubio at 24%. But here's some things that are critical to note. Joe Biden is trending down, okay? Chris Christie trending way down. Jeb Bush, he cannot overcome his negatives. His negatives are higher than Hillary's. Hillary's negatives are 47%. Jeb Bush's are hovering, and they've been hovering for a long time, in the high 50s. Ted Cruz, his numbers are pretty good. He's at 20% popularity, but his negative base is at 41%. Rand Paul's negatives are high. Now, I want you to note something very important. The demons know who the good guys are. And the reason that Rand Paul's negatives are so high and Ted Cruz's negatives are so high is because the left-wing, socialist, baby-killing base hate these men. And they are getting to the left-wing base saying, this is a bad guy. This is a bad guy. This is a bad guy. So even though a lot of the country doesn't even know who Ted Cruz or Rand Paul is, the people who don't know them is quite high, it's over 20%, they are hated because they stand for something. Now, Hillary stands for something. We know that. Let's quickly look at these numbers. If she ran against Chris Christie, 49-38, she's the next president. If she's against Jeb Bush, 51-38. And if she runs against Ted Cruz, she beats him 52-36%. Now, here are some of the more troubling aspects of this. And by the way, a lot can happen between now and 2016. I think that Hillary will be the nominee, all right? I don't think that anyone can mount the fundraising necessary to beat her, the popularity, etc. But the Republican is for sure up for grabs. Do you think Hillary Clinton would be a good president or not? 50% of the people polled said yes, but here's what's crazy. 24% of the Tea Party people said yes. Friends, look, she's cut from the same ethical cloth as Obama. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? She's a baby-killing puppet of the militant homosexuals, the socialist agenda, the welfare state, and there will be no substantive change if Hillary becomes the next president, other than it will get worse. And it will be just another nail in the coffin of the republic. I'll come back to this tomorrow, but I think one of the big lessons that we have to learn from this is that we need ideological conversion and then purity, to recognize a wolf when we see one, and then to do everything we can in our power to get the wolf out and to get freedom and justice back.